Good morning. I think we're ready to start. A warm welcome to this week's edition of 20 Minutes on Fighting Disinformation. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing Simen Bakke, who is a Senior Information Security Advisor at the Norwegian Police IT unit. Simen has an operational and strategic background from the police and other emergency organizations. And in recent years, he has worked with preventative security and IT security in the police. Hacking can be many things and have many different kinds of purposes. And I will certainly not elaborate further on this. I'll leave it all to Simen, who will be presenting how cyber threats such as hacking, data breaches, and espionage can be used and combined to carry out influence operations. So Simen, it's over to you.
Thank you so much, Christopher, and thank you for having me here today. I'm going to share my screen now. I hope you can see it full screen.
Yep, that's great. Thank you.
Perfect. So thank you for having me, and let me speak about this highly interesting topic. It's about influence and cyber operations. And I'm also attached to UTSYN, Forum for Utenriks og Sikkerhet, which is a non-governmental organization and independent organization that works with this kind of topics. So I'm going to speak on behalf of myself, not my employers or other organizations, but just so you know where I come from. Okay, so during this 20 minutes, we're going to speak a little bit about influence and information operations. We're also going to speak a little bit about cyber espionage operation, and especially, which I find very interesting, is the combination of those two, also known as hack and leak operations. And we're also going to touch a little bit upon mobile espionage and spyware. Okay, so I hope you find these topics interesting. First, when we are speaking about this kind of operation, we need to settle the battlefield or the stage. When we're speaking about influence and information operation, we can, for example, have the first one that's you can see here on the screen, targeted attempts to influence decision in specific cases, for example, elections. And that is a typical influence operation. And when we're speaking about information operations, which can be a broader topic, we can also speak about spreading disinformation and fake news to cause, for example, confusion in a society. For example, disinformation about vaccines, just to pick a topic. But this is another category than when we are speaking about cyber espionage operations, also known as hacking. So these are two different sort of cyber and information and influence operations. So just to distinguish those two. So when we're speaking about cyber espionage operations, we can talk about the target specific organization and their computer networks and data. And we can talk about cyber espionage operations or hacking, target specific persons, their computer, mobile devices, and data. And these are often conducted by states, but can also be used by other actors. For example, the Russian state are using information operations and hacking, but in the Western part, the Western states usually do more cyber espionage than information operations, or at least that is what we are announcing publicly. But there can be used a wide variety of different tactiques and procedures to conduct these kind of operations. And this can also be in the military context, be seen as part of some kind of cognitive warfare. Okay, just to go into the definitions here. When we are speaking about cyber espionage operation, we are speaking about the use of computer networks to gain illicit access to confidential information. typically held by government or other organizations. So it's computers to get access to information that you should not have. When we're speaking about targeted influence operations, those are organized attempts to achieve a specific effect among a target audience, for example, in an election. And as I said earlier, I think it's especially interesting when these two are combined and when you have these kinds of hack and leak operations that can have potentially high consequences and big effects, which we have seen at least one time in history. I think we have seen more, but there is one case that is well known, and that's the hack and leak operation in 2016 during the presidential election in the US, where the Russian threat actors, these are called APT, which stands for Advanced Persistent Threat, 28 and 29. These are Russian groups connected to the intelligence services that did these hack and leak operations, which we are going to look a little bit more deeply into now. So this was the DNC hack against the Democratic Party in the US, conducted by these two different APT groups from Russia. And first you have the hack part, where they used spear phishing emails with malicious links. And spear phishing are crafted links that are specifically designed to the target they want to achieve an effect on, either to get them to click an attachment with, for example, malware, or to get them to give out their credentials, their login credentials, password and usernames. So these two different groups used both techniques. APT29 used malware and APT28 used credential harvesting. And as you see on the illustration here, you can see that this group crafts an email with a malicious link that sends to the victim, and then they are going into a web page that the attacker has made, and they fool them to give out their username and password. And so this is sent back to the attacker, which used this username and password to log on to the email account from the victim, and then they can harvest all the emails. And over 150,000 emails was downloaded from different parts of the Democratic Party in the US emails, both their private Gmail accounts and their internal email servers. But this is just the first part of the hack and leak operation. So you also need to get a strategic effect. You also need a leak part. And in this particular operation, you had this anonymous account called Gussifer 2.0 that were trying to hand out these emails, these documents to different organizations. But there wasn't before he got in touch with Julian Assange and the WikiLeaks that all this email was, or at least a lot of them, was made public on WikiLeaks. And after a while, national media started to report on these findings. And for example, that Hillary Clinton had classified emails on her private email server. And classified mails should only be stored in classified systems. So that was a security issue there. And Donald Trump used this against her during the elections. But there also was some internal mails that gave the impression that the Democratic Party favored Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders. And that was also not good to have. It was a lot of noise during the presidential run-up. So this was a very interesting targeted hack and leak operation, where they managed to make a strategic effect. We don't know what effect on or how big this effect was, but I think we can state that there had some kind of effect on the election. So an interesting question is, could this happen in Norway? Well, we don't know, but what we know is that our parliament was hacked 2 years ago. And as it states here in Aftenposten, Michael Tetzschner, the representative from Høyre, he got over 4,000 emails exfiltrated from Stortingets e-post system and email system. And as you probably can understand, there is a lot of probably interesting political sensitive information in those emails. And this was done from Chinese actors, a group called Hafnium that exploited a Microsoft Exchange vulnerability, which is their email servers, and conducted operations against Stortinget in February and March 2021. Yes. And the interesting question here is, we haven't seen, as far as I know, any leaks from this operation. We have seen the hacking, which is quite well documented, also in public sources. But what's interesting is to ask, what is their purpose with this? Michael Tetzschner himself said that he is a China critic and a critic of abuses when it comes to human rights abuses. He's a critic of that. That was his reason for why they probably targeted the Chinese actor, probably targeted him. But of course, this can be useful for Chinese intelligence. They always want to know what is going on in Norwegian politics, but exactly what they want to know and what this email contains, that's a question that I cannot answer, but there is probably something they can use in their intelligence operations. And it can still be used. And if it's being used, what so? So what if? We have to ask these questions. What if? As you see on the right screen here, me and a colleague from UTSYN, Hedda Langemyr, we wrote the piece in the Norwegian newspaper Dagens Næringsliv, where we were warning about the potential for influence on the democratic election, the parliamentary election, after this breach. Because what if this information was used to influence the elections? Would media organizations and newspaper outlets be able to identify the leaked material and its origin? And would they accept to publish it, even though it might be not to publish it, sorry, even though it might be highly newsworthy and interesting? I think a lot of editors and newspaper are conscious about this, and they probably have thought a lot about this, hopefully. But to sit in the situation where you get some of this material from some sources, and you might find it very interesting and not publish it, that can probably be an hard discussion inside the media organization. But I think it's very important just to have those discussions and just to think about, can this be some other actor, some foreign actor that wants to influence, for example, our elections or some other democratic decisions? Because these organizations, the intelligence organizations, either them are from Russia or China. They are very competent and very strategic, and they usually know how to make an effect out of the information they are handling. Okay, so now we're going to speak a little bit about the last topic, which is targeted mobile espionage operation. I think probably most of you have heard of Jamal Khashoggi case, which you can see on the right screen here on the illustration, and the Saudi crown prince that is suspected for killing him. But how did they get the information about Khashoggi that he was visiting the embassy to get his paper that particular day? They used a spyware called Pegasus. And there is an Israeli group called NSO that develops this spyware. And this spyware was first examined and found in 2016 on Ahmed Mansour's mobile phone. And Ahmed Mansour was a human rights advocate, some kind of, he promoted human rights and so on. And if you see on the right side here, he got a message on his phone where they would like him to click on this link. Ahmed did not do this. He was very conscious about this. So he went to Citizen Lab, which is an independent organization conducting research and examination on mobile phones and mobile forensics. So they found that this link contained the Pegasus spyware. And this message is it's in Arabic or some language I don't understand, but their message are always stressing, so they want to get you to click on this link as fast as possible. And journalists, activists, and lawyers are often targets by this spyware mobile operations. So Israeli NSO group, they hand out this spyware to different criminal organizations and states, as long as the states pay for this spyware. And as we will see very soon, it's kind of expensive. But in the case of Jamal Khashoggi, when he was killed, they didn't infect his phone because he was conscious about this topic. But they managed to infect his wife's phone. And by getting the message from Khashoggi and his wife, their conversation back and forth, they did that through access his wife's phone. So even though he was conscious about this and took a lot of precautionary measures, his wife was not that cautious probably, and they got into her phone. And as you can see here, the NSO group is just one out of many groups that delivers spyware. Just NSO group has 36 operators in 45 countries, and 10 of in one of these operators is conducting operations on behalf of people who pay them in 10 countries. So this is a global phenomenon. And it's kind of scary just to make yeah. The US has made a ban on spyware coming from countries like, for example, Israel, where a lot of this spyware come from. So there is some measures to stop this, but it's a never-ending and developing topic. But they used, or to infect 10 devices, NSO gets paid $650,000. And this Pegasus spyware used 3 zero-day vulnerabilities. That is vulnerabilities that is not known by Apple, so they cannot do anything to patch it. And some of these vulnerabilities was so-called zero-click vulnerabilities, and that that made that the target don't even have to click the message. As long as they are getting delivered this message to their mobile phone, it's enough to get into the mobile phone and attack it. And as you can see on the right side here, you can see the different attack vectors: SMS, WhatsApp, iMessage. And also on the right side, you can see what Pegasus spyware it's getting access to on the phone. Apple is patching this zero-click vulnerability very fast, so it's getting mitigated. But it's good to be aware that in some cases, there is nothing you can do, but unless you're a very important and interesting target for someone that has really much money, then you are probably not going to be targeted, but you should have take some precautionary measures to not be an easy target. Okay, I see that we are starting to get out of time, so I'm just going to have a short presentation of this. This is a marketplace for zero-day vulnerabilities, like the ones used in the Khashoggi case in Pegasus. As you can see on the right side here, a marketplace or a company called Zerodium offers $2.5 million for a zero-click Android exploit. And that means that the user don't have to interact with the link or something like that. They're just getting sent a message, and that is enough to get the attacker in. But these are not normal to have. They are very there are very few of them. But also, this is a big business, and it's a black market that states sometimes, and also criminal organization and others, are paying a lot of money to get this exploit so they can conduct hacking operations and so on. Okay, the last slide. So what can we do? The first thing we can do is to be skeptical and critical. And don't let yourself be fooled by stressing messages. And protect your digital assets if they are important. And always use multi-factor authentication and two-factor authentication on every device and service. Both your mobile phone, your Gmail account, your mail accounts, your Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, whatever, everything. And if you get something really interesting on your mobile, always think, what is their intention? Because if there is someone that wants to get into your computer, your mobile phone, or other services that you have a lot of interesting information, it's very nice to have done this thought on beforehand. Because then you don't get to be, hopefully, the weakest link in the security chain. And then you can probably not be an easy target if you have something interesting that this attacker might want from you. So thank you. I think this was a little bit over 20 minutes, but I hope it was interesting. I could talk for a lot of hours. So thanks.
Thank you so much, Simen. I wish I could say that this was reassuring, but I think it's more the opposite. But then I think probably me, together with most people on this session, are not worth millions of kroners to be hacked. So, but still, we should be really careful. So, thanks again, Simen. That was fantastic. Let me just remind everyone that we have our next session on what research says about the effect of fact-checking and to what extent it hinders the spread of disinformation with Bente Kalsnes at Christiania University College on the 26th of May. So for now, Simen, thank you so much for sharing your insights this morning, and thank you for taking the time while on paternal leave.
Thank you, Kristoffer.